Hi everyone, I'm Kat. I've worked at Young Women's Trust for the past 3 years. I'm going to give you a little bit of background as to who we are because you probably don't know anything about us. We're a really small charity. There's about 25 of us working there. We've been around in one way or another since 1855. And our focus has always been to support women and campaigning for economic and social justice. So what we do, in a nutshell, we champion young women aged 18 to 30 on low or no pay. We offer that free coaching, workshops and information and support to help build their skills and confidence. So we support thousands of women a year through these services. And we work with young women and anyone who experiences misogyny, discrimination and harassment at work to campaign for equality in the workplace. And today we're going to talk to you about our latest campaign, Rights Here, Rights Now, and how we built quality engagement with decision makers through our digital action in partnership with Bookshay at C6. So, oh Christ. We also have a research centre, and we use the research that we carry out to kind of influence change and build like kind of credible evidence and narratives around this issue to influence policymakers, MPs and the public. Our research shows that young women are more likely to be in insecure work, paid less, and experience harassment and discrimination throughout their working lives. And this starts the moment that they enter work. 24% of women are paid less than their male colleagues. 53% report experiencing some form of workplace discrimination, and that rises to 61% if you're from a racially minoritized background. And on top of that, more than a quarter of them have experienced sexual harassment at work. And then over a quarter of young women who report this type of practice see no action, and actually some of them are disciplined, demoted or even dismissed as a result of speaking up for themselves, and this is rising. You know, at Young Women's Trust, we recognise that these problems are widespread, but accountability and enforcement for employers is pretty weak, despite there being laws to protect young women from stuff like this. You know, this practice is illegal and people are getting away with it. So, that's kind of summing up what I've just said, sorry, I'll move on from that. These findings led us to our latest campaign, which was Rights Here, Rights Now. This campaign was created in collaboration with our group of 28 young women change makers. And the campaign is essentially calling for stronger rights enforcement and protection for workers. So, we want for young women to have stronger rights at work in terms of job security, pay and protection from discrimination. Last year, we saw quite a big opportunity with the Employment Rights Bill kind of coming to the fore. It gave us a genuine opportunity to push for stronger protections and enforcement within the new government. The Act was passed in December 2025, which did provide a boost for job security, wages and women's rights at work. You know, we celebrated that, it was great. But, you know, as I just spoke to, our research shows that rights only really matter if they're enforced. So, we already have rights that protect us at work and people are already kind of violating them daily. And that is having a huge impact on young women workers' lives. We wanted the government to commit to stronger enforcement and involve young women in the process of rolling out these new rights and then enforcing them down the line. So we decided to bring people together at an event in Parliament after the bill passed and try to use that space for stronger enforcement, to build relationships and for young women to be directly involved in shaping new systems like the Fair Work Agency. So how did we do that? As I said, we're a really small team with extremely limited budgets. We have one policy lead and just a couple of us working across digital and I promise you, not a lot of budget. So we wanted to try a few things. We launched a Vox Pop video. Some of you will probably recognise the man in this video. This is Adam. He's quite popular at the minute across like human rights social media profiles, if I say so myself. I've also popped a link to this video in the comments on the app for this session because I forgot to add it to the slides, I'm sorry. But we launched a Vox Pop video, it's our very first one, and we wanted to bring the treatment of young women, that young women face at work, out into the open and start public conversations. Secondly, after we kind of garnered support and awareness with that video, we built an MP engagement tool in engaging networks. that allowed supporters to directly invite their MPs to our event, and then to meet young women at this event and hear their stories firsthand. Akshay is going to talk to you a little bit about like what that tool looks like and why it's different from just the old typical email to target in a moment. And this all culminated in us being in a room together at Parliament in January, talking through the issues and rallying support.
Hi everyone, I'm Akshay from C6. Can I just ask people, how many of you here have used email to target on engaging networks in the last 12 months? Okay, cool. So I think we were looking at, we had a short period of time and we had limited budget and we have a very small list at Young Women's Trust. We're just thinking about how do we get the most out of it. We were looking at the email to target, which is quite often focused on engagement with supporters. So you have like X number, you're trying to get more and more people to take action and write to their MP. But there's no sense of follow-up with MPs for the supporters. As an organization, we have policy leads, we know what's happening, we can talk to the MPs, but for supporters, there's no communication back. They don't know if their MP has ever received any email, they don't know if the MP already supports it. There's a lot of focus on like signatures and emails, but not a direct engagement with the MP. It's kind of like being ghosted on a Tinder chat by your MP. So we were thinking about how to solve it, and just thinking what can we do that kind of opens a two-way communication. In some ways, obviously, can't have MPs messaging every constituent individually, but some kind of sense of like engagement with both. So we came up with a structure, with an architecture for the tool. We had, as you saw the video that obviously we couldn't play, but we had an amazing video out there on social media. We sent it to supporters who are already on the Young Women's Trust list. And we had different traffic coming from different places. So people had either seen the video or not seen the video, but we built a page where they could enter their postcode and actually find out if their MP has already RSVP'd and is attending or not. Based on that, they either invited their MP to an event, a parliamentary event, or they just continued with sharing the video, trying to get more people into this tool. The new thing we added was on the other side, which was the MP journey. So what is the journey that MP, or realistically the staff at MP's offices, what is the journey that they are following? So they would get an invitation from supporters, and we allowed them to actually, instead of giving a big ask to just go and vote on a policy in the parliament or any kind of proposals, we made it a bit easier for them, just exactly how we think about supporters. We were thinking about MPs. So a low bar ask, but an impactful, meaningful ask, which is what the invitation to parliamentary event was. So we allowed them to RSVP. We built a whole hashed system, so only MP's office who are receiving the email can actually fill the form. And we can know who filled the form. They could change their email ID. It could be the MP themselves, or it could be the staff. But there was a whole way of managing that on their side. And then once they confirmed, we also confirmed the email, so nobody signs up on behalf of the MP by any chance. So we'd confirm that as well. And what's not written here was a whole CMS, which is like a layer built on top of the email to target, which was controlled by Young Women's Trust staff. They could see MPs who have RSVP'd, their staff have RSVP'd, but also MPs that they were talking to directly that they could update. So they stop receiving the emails from supporters and they go on a different journey, which was an email journey about the event itself, with research and like preparing them for this event and providing them all the information that they might need. So yeah, did it work?
Did it work? Yes. Most importantly, young women were actually heard in the room. Here's some nice pictures from our event. So you can see here there's Minister Dearden talking to one of our young women, Uma Kumaran, who partnered with us actually on some social content during the campaign, and then colleagues and staff from across parties and DBT attended. So I'm just going to find my notes. So the event was a really big success. We had a good representation from across parties. The room. Oh, what did I just do? Did I do something? Oh, okay. We played Jenga together. So we basically took young women's quotes about the experiences they were having at work, quotes from our research, put them on Jenga towers, and then played Jenga and got to read the quotes out to each other and just had some really good stimulating conversations. I spoke to someone at DBT about how they'd worked in a hotel when they were 18 and they were sexually harassed and discriminated against, and that they'd forgotten about it, 20 years being in their career. And it was just a really good opportunity to bring real life experiences, to connect as human beings and to kind of share our research and also platform young women's voices in the room. You've got Sadia here, speaking as well. She's one of our young women change makers. It was like a massive success. So is that going to work? Yeah. So overall, we had great social organic success of our videos. So over 300,000 organic views. The reason I focused on organic views is just because we didn't really have that much paid media budget, and it's quite hard for us to cut through on social as a small organisation. So we were really proud of this. 10% growth in our social community during the campaign period. That was really exciting for us. And then some of you will have seen this in other organisations. We trialled ManyChat, a free trial of ManyChat, and we got 90 direct messages sent out to people via Instagram who took our petition and then went on to invite their MPs. So we had a great mix of MPs in the room. So I think it was around 44 MPs in the room directly, but we also reached 439 MPs with our action. And we saw around 2,000 actions actually across the burst of this campaign, which we're really, really proud of. But, as new rights continue to roll out, the lasting kind of impact of this is that we've had young women continue these conversations outside of Parliament in their constituencies, which is a really big thing for us. We're just starting on our organising and rallying journey, and this is our first go at trying to get young women and policymakers and influential people in a room together, and then I guess model that and take that out into their communities, and it's working. So we've built lasting relationships with key figures. We were mentioned twice during sessions in Parliament. And, young women have even since been invited to meetings with the Secretary of State to talk about what we do next in terms of enforcement. It was a success.
Okay, takeaways. We're doing really well on time. I had a lot of takeaways and learnings and stuff, but ChatGPT said don't put more than 3. So the AI overlords have spoken. So first things first, I think you don't need a new platform. That was a spelling. That was a typo there. Nobody spotted that. We don't need a new platform for doing more engaging actions. Just wanted to put this there. Just when I was writing it up, I was like, that sounds like I'm advertising engaging networks. I think the idea is that a lot of these kind of engagements and the tools and the campaigning tools, custom tools that you're building are specific to the ask. We're not here to say that everybody should do this for your email to target actions. I think it's just about thinking about what you need and what you can build to deliver it better, to make it a good experience for everybody and hence higher conversions or optimizations. I think any platform that you go with will obviously provide you with a base that you have to build on. So that's what I'm trying to say. I think it's always think about whatever platform people are using. It's good to think about what goes on top of it to provide something that you need for your campaign, for your work. I'm going to pass it on.
It's fine.
I forgot that.
That's okay. You're okay. You're all good. I just want to quickly expand on that as well. We had over a third of people that took action were young women, which is, again, even though we're a Young Women's Trust, that's quite high for us. It's very hard to engage young people in these types of actions. They feel very disillusioned, disenfranchised. They don't really want to talk to their MPs. They don't feel like anyone's really got their back. So in that kind of making a tool like this, we kind of, I suppose, tapped into their curiosity. They wanted to see if people were going to support them. They wanted to see if their MPs were interested. And then they could kind of, go on these more personalised journeys with them. It did work. We got great feedback from the young women that did take action, and we got great feedback from the MPs as well, saying that they found it very engaging and it stood out in their inboxes, which was great. So, takeaway number 2, respect the decision makers. One of the reasons that we took this approach is because MPs and staff are probably constantly receiving emails like this, right? I mean, we've been speaking about it kind of all morning, and they're probably admittedly fatigued by it. We wanted to do something different, something more meaningful, personal, you name it. The aim was to create real connection between MPs and their constituents, and for some to give a space to each other to like listen and engage with one another. And we found it so successful that we hope to do it when the next election is looming, so we can have like more in-person kind of talks and events with young people at scale, but maybe in local areas.
Yeah, and I think one of the key things here was also obviously thinking about the MP engagement as well, but also just focusing on like what do the supporters see. So even though it's not the same supporter who's emailing, but just on Tool, if you put your postcode and you see that your MP has already RSVP'd, there's a sense of like the campaign moving forward, and you're not just like bunch of like in a group of people just bombarding with emails. We obviously saw it through with like making sure we emailed supporters who participated with what happened at the event and how many MPs attended, and that story kind of continued for the supporters as well. And I just this morning found out that we had a 200% increase in young women who went from one action in the last 12 months to actually becoming campaigners and taking more actions. So I think that's a measurement of like a big move for a specific niche audience that we want to engage with. I think those are the 3 takeaways. We're here for any questions.
Thank you. Is this on? Is this
Yeah.
working? Yes, we have a number of questions and we will get to as many as we can. All right. First question. How did you set it up to display to supporters when an MP had said they'll attend? Was it a case of manually setting up redirects when you got the data from the MP RSVP page, or was there some kind of automation?
Yeah. It was, I don't know if people can hear me like this. It was automated. Before the page loads with the email that you have to write, we were just doing a check on the CMS. So it's all automated. We were not doing manually. But if the politics team was talking to MPs and they had said yes, they were manually updating the CMS that would then trigger the automation. So, yeah.
Great. And that's a custom thing that C6 built. So talk to the C6 team about that. Okay, could you talk more about how the RSVP journey works? How did you stop the MP's inbox treating automated emails as spam?
I think somebody with more experience should talk about it, but from all the 10 years of emailing MPs I've heard is that the MPs they use a very archaic email system, so they do receive all the emails because they can't deal with things going into spam. So there'll be a staff member who goes through those emails and they will read it. I think it's just that if there's too many of them, it becomes a folder of like something that they have to respond to eventually. And I think that's what we were trying to escape, like not become a folder of emails, but instead just be an action that they can take and a reminder almost. And once it stops, I think it also is like a bit of a respite. If I just RSVP, then this will stop. So I think there's like a few thinking they have to like get out of the usual cycle of like we'll file this, we'll keep it in the side and respond in 2 weeks. Yeah.
Great. So you mentioned that a third of the participants were young women. How did you know that? Like, how did you know that they were sort of your beneficiaries?
Because we have that like logic kind of baked into the forms on engaging networks as like standard. So we ask that information. Are you a young woman aged 18 to 30? And then we can obviously like match whether they're already subscribed or whether they're new to our list. It's pretty standard across all of our comms. And
great. Did you maintain engagement with the MP once they had RSVP'd, and if so, how?
Yes. So our lovely policy lead, Hayley, who's not here today, and she's like a one-woman band at YWT, personally emailed them and then like kind of called them or like built those relationships. She did that across like MP staff, offices, the Department of Business and Trade. It was just her putting in basically like really, really long hours for like the 2 weeks, like following up to the campaign.
Wow.
I think just want to add that we also ended up doing an Instagram collab with
We did,
with
yeah.
MPs, so
Yeah,
that
we did.
relationship continues.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, cool. How did you build and measure impact after the event?
Yeah, this is a good question. So we have like a whole impact framework at YWT. That's a little bit different maybe to what you'd see at other organisations. I've certainly not really seen it before in other organisations that I've worked in, where we do focus on things around like how young women felt about the event, like how they felt, like did they feel hope, did they feel empowered. We take a lot of kind of qualitative data to kind of like assess that. And then in terms of, I guess, like digital impact, like this is the first time we've done an action like this. Like we don't really do stuff like this. So we didn't really have a baseline. I know I heard people talking before that you had like hundreds of MPs at your event. Like we genuinely had no idea like who would turn up, if they would find it interesting, and if they really cared what we had to say. So when like 44 people turned up and all of their staff, and then we had like 30 young women in the room, like corporate partners and stuff, like we were like really bowled over. We were really excited by that. So for us, like, that's impactful. And now, like I said, we've got these lasting relationships with like Minister Did and Secretary of State. We're now working behind the scenes on influencing the way the Fair Work Agency is going to enforce the new rights that are being rolled out over the next year. And I think this is really important at the minute for us to be kind of like establishing these relationships and this influencing work, especially with the rising threat of the far right and then the fact that they want to kind of essentially like shit all over this work that we're doing. So yeah, I think the impact was felt was like immediate, but like there's going to be lasting impact to this because now we've got like, a good couple of years of a fight in us to try and keep it going. Does that make sense? Yeah.
So yeah, thank you. Next question. What are the Instagram DMs? Is that a follower messaging your account and your team responding manually? How does that work?
Yeah. No, yeah, this is just like it's a tool called ManyChat, and like some organisations use it really effectively. You'll probably see it more and more at the moment. So like Hope Not Hate kind of pioneered this with an action they did recently, but it's essentially like an automated tool that you connect to your social media profile, and you'll see it. Like you get people that say like comment, I don't know, rights under this, and we'll send you a message. It's that basically. So someone comments on your profile, comments on your posts, and then that comment triggers a journey, but in your direct messages. So you can give them messages around your organisation, you can give them actions to take. It also has its own kind of like, I guess, like CRM built into it, so you can see from your followers or whatever who's taking the actions. It's pretty cool. We just used a free trial because we don't have loads of money. So we just used a free trial for like the campaign just to see if we could kind of capture some of the organic traffic and like try something new, and it worked. So yeah, we'd scale it in the future, but I think we would just probably scale it for potentially like a lower bar action that was like more reactive. I think it kind of works in that way better.
Did you say what the tool was called? Is it
ManyChat?
ManyChat?
ManyChat.
Okay, and that's an Instagram offered thing, or is it like?
I mean, it's like it's across social platforms. Just Google it.
Okay. Okay. Did you let your MPs know that supporters could no longer email them once they had RSVP'd? So they knew the lack of supporter contact was because you were no longer asking them to make contact rather than just that only one constituent wanted them to attend the event?
We didn't say they won't receive emails. When they signed up, they got an automated. We didn't say that they won't receive any emails from supporters, but once they did sign up, they got an email saying that we will be in touch to talk about the event. And I think it just continued as a journey, but didn't necessarily announce that they won't be receiving any more emails.
Got it. Okay. Did you still capture the data of supporters if their MP had already RSVP'd?
Yeah, we had a whole setup. I tried to put the flowchart there, but it was just too confusing. There were people were just going between petitions and video share and the email your MP tool. So we made sure that any new interest, we still captured it. And then they went on to like share the video if they weren't taking action.
Great. And we have one more. What was the geographic spread of supporters taking part in the campaign? Did you manage to get engagement across the country?
I think 439 MPs were emailed, so that's the best we know about like the spread of it. I think there were about more than 1,000 signatures. So yeah, I'm imagining on average like 2 people from 2/3 of the country.
Yeah.
each year.
We only operate in England and Wales as well, so that kind of limits things. And we you know, for us, like we're typically like a very London-centric organisation. I know a lot of charities kind of grapple with that. So for us to get that spread of like 439 constituencies was pretty cool, to be honest.
Yeah. Just as a comparison, we did a campaign around general election with emailing candidates, and we had about 200 constituencies covered. So I think for us, it's also the growth of like going to 400 is a big number.
Yeah, that's great. All right. I think that's all we have. If anyone has burning questions that you didn't ask, obviously you guys will be around for today and tomorrow. So feel free to approach them. I'm sure they'd be happy to talk to you. Great job. You didn't seem nervous at all.
Cheers.